Ever since I started making videos on inverse kinematics and more recently these mechanical linkages, my recommendeds on YouTube have started to blow up with all these videos of automata and mechanisms and walking mechanisms like the strand beast. And I've been curious about how these types of things can be applied to procedural animation. And I've been finding some interesting things about that and definitely want to explore that more in future video. I created this strand beast model and I'm thinking about that, and that's definitely going to be something I'm going to explore more. In this video, we're going to be focusing on one of the more simpler but very cool automata that I've seen, which is the water droplet. And the water droplet simulator has rotating cams that move the position of these concentric rings, and they have a sphere in the center. So now we're looking at the one that I made in P5.js, and this video is going to talk a bit about how I achieved that. And yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I did was created a for loop and just had it from 0 to 15, and in each of those I drew a circle. And then the idea was to just have the circle increase in size according to the increment of the for loop. And then I wanted to clean it up a little bit because it looks like a big polygon, not a circle, but you can't do that with a circle, so I changed it to an ellipse, and that allows you to give more, specify the detail. So that looks more like a circle now, and not like a big polygon. And then the idea was I wanted to move it up and down by a certain amount based on the value of I in the for loop, the increment. And so I used a sine function and fed some values in, played around with that a little bit to get it to look like a wave. And then I added a counter, and the counter makes it so that the sine function is moving, and you get this sort of ripple waving effect. So that looks pretty cool. And then I added a sphere in the center, so when I equals 0, I'm drawing a sphere, and the sphere moves along the negative of the sine, so it moves opposite to the wave motion, and that gives that droplet popping out effect that you see in the phenomenon in like a real drop into water. So then I added some color and stuff, but I realized it's not looking good in 3D, so I replaced the ellipse with a torus. That way it'll receive light and shadow just like the sphere does, and that looks a lot better. Gave it kind of like a wood color. And then I noticed that the rotations you can't really notice, so I added a sphere box, which is just a sphere with a HDRI texture of this nice office. And now it's starting to look pretty good. I tried playing around with like a water texture, but didn't really like that. So here you're looking at a wood texture, and that gives it like a nice wooden dowel type look, which I kind of liked. So now I wanted to expose some variables, so I added the dat.GUI CDN, and I'm going to add a dat.GUI component, so we'll have a little UI drop down so I can play around with some values. I wanted to add the number of rings, the amplitude, the frequency, and I think I ended up adding the speed later, as well as a damping factor. So the damping will just create like a drop off, so the amplitude will decrease as the rings get further from the center. So here you're seeing I added the parameter for rings, so now I can control the number of rings. In this demo, the speed was controlled by the position of my mouse, so I just changed that so that it wouldn't be too big. So yeah, you can do like a lot of rings. Looks kind of crazy. I kind of liked in like the 25 to 30 range. So yeah, here I'm adding the rest of the parameters. Frequency component. The frequency is pretty cool. It definitely starts to like overlap, as you would, I guess it makes sense, but yeah, play around with it. The link to the source code is in the comments if you want to check it out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Hope you got something out of this, and yeah, check out the source code in the comments. Thanks for watching.